Are you ready to create a life you crave? Let's spin that doom loop of negativity into an upward success cycle and start living lucky.
Good morning.
I'm Jana.
I'm Jason.
And we are living lucky.
You are too.
We are doing a series right now, the 14 questions that will change your life.
Game changers, life enhancers.
And I must say, they have changed my life. I am so grateful that we have been doing these because I need a refresher. It's almost like going back to the basics.
Yeah, it's beautiful because we embrace these on a regular basis, but oftentimes it's just become a part of us. And now when we are going back and focusing on the text, focusing on the actual outline of what we do,
yes,
it gives us a little bit more clarity from where we have grown to.
Today, we're talking about self-growth. What's the question for today?
So today helps us embrace continuous learning and growth. How will you continue to learn and grow? I mean, it's a simple question.
How will you continue to learn and grow? So for Jason and I, we started reading, and this was like 20 years ago when we first started getting married. And it was one of those things we had to do because Jason's boss made him read a self-help book
every month.
And then also I was on the radio, and I remember talking about the section in the library that you most identify with. And I loved self-help books. I remember a book about, like, at that time, I would love to read about fitness and lifting weights.
You were a world-class athlete.
Yes, I loved building your body. I loved that sort of thing.
You were a supple little leopard.
Yes, and we both loved Tony Robbins.
Yeah,
we both loved Tony Robbins.
I was a huge fan of Zig Ziglar, Tony Robbins,
And then when The Secret came out, I remember reading that book.
What is this?
Like 5 times. And for me to read a book 5 times, in my early 30s, like that was a big deal. And then it just kept growing from there. We started going to conferences. And from conferences, then we started getting involved with different mentors and mentors.
I stopped listening to the radio and only listened to books on tape. Like that's, and because I was driving a lot, like 600-700 miles a week, it was easy for me to just get through a book and also cut down on my frustration with traffic.
And then I know I've told this story before, but when I decided to leave radio, we went to a self-development conference.
Seminar, yep.
And at the end of that conference, there was a chance to work with a very high-profile coach and join a mastermind.
Yep.
It was a very elite mastermind, and we paid $24,000.
So I round up. I'm like, in my mind, it was so close to $25,000. I'm like, it's just $25,000.
We paid $25,000, and I remember thinking, "Oh my God, that's a car. That is a car."
Yeah. What have I done?
And I remember kind of having buyer's remorse. Like, what is that? However, I showed up every single day for about 3 years. Ever since.
Yeah.
Like that was the pivot. That was the pivotal moment.
A lot of people say that if you want to create change in your life, invest some change in your life.
Put the money down.
That's right.
Once I put the money down, I was like, this is it. This is what I'm doing.
Sometimes you can't see the value, the worth of the change it's going to make in your life. But when you assign it that kind of value, you create that change. It's like people, and that's one of the little distinctions that people sometimes don't notice. They're like, well, I just want it for free. I don't want it to stretch me financially. I just want it to stretch me as a person.
Yes.
Well, everything is connected. Everything is connected. Over time, we've invested over the last 10 years. I believe it's upwards of almost it's over 500,000.
It doesn't even matter. It's been priceless. The money doesn't matter.
The growth and experience, the The
because
gains
it's
have
not only for us. Like, I feel like it has come back to us
so much.
tenfold. I mean, I've been getting speaking engagements that are paying me more than I've ever thought would be possible.
Yep.
You
The
have,
return on investment is huge, and we're all responsible for our own return on investment.
that is true.
Because I also know there are people out there that are constantly growing, constantly learning, and not doing. And that's part of it. Because a lot of these, I've seen a lot of self-development arenas.
No, there's actually science on that.
Yes.
That people buy self-development, and then the percentage of people that actually finish it
so
is very low. And then the people who actually implement it is even lower.
Yeah. Implementing and integrating it into your life is the key. And they're so caught up in the learning that once,
there is a learning curve there. It takes time.
And that learning curve
takes time.
Confuses a lot of people because they're like, oh, I feel like intellectually I get this. I want to do it, but it feels uncomfortable. Let me learn more.
And so there's a period where you get into that. Let me learn more. Let me learn from more people. Let me learn how to learn. Let me learn how they're presenting. And so there's this period of wanting to become
absorb information,
as proficient as you possibly can. And then there's a point where you're just like, I know this. Yeah. I know this better than the person on stage delivering it.
It's one of those things where you're just like, I want to know how to do a backflip so well that when I go out and do the backflip, I will do it perfectly. That's not going to happen. Like,
you just have to start doing it.
I want to know how to do a triple somersault off a high dive in a diving board so well that I can just go up there the first time and nail it, score a perfect 10, and that will never happen. It's the action and the doing that will build you to it.
Wait. Before you get to that point, because we went through a period where we started doing and we had a lot of rejection.
Resistant,
there's actually a curve. What do they call it?
I don't remember the name of the curve.
But when you first get into self-development, you're like, oh yeah, I get this. I totally get it. And you get on this high.
I intellectually identify with all this.
Yes. And so you want to share it with everybody, and you totally go out there and you put yourself out there. For me, I started a YouTube. I started this podcast. I literally started
throwing
speaking.
Spaghetti at the wall.
I went out on everything, and I was like, yeah, this is me. I'm like I'm Miss Tony Robbins. That's what I am.
Miss
and
Living
I'm
Lucky.
better. I am Tony Robbins and Oprah put together, blah, blah, blah. And then I don't know if I don't know what it is. I don't know if there's a change where people don't see you as that yet.
Well, there's part of that, and there's part of it where you've come out of a dark cave. You didn't even realize you were in a dark cave, but you found the room with the light on.
You do.
Then so you're like, everyone come, the light is over here.
Yes.
So it's like an expression of, wow. It's that epiphany of life that says, I didn't even know that there were rooms with light.
Yes.
I thought I was living in the light because I've adjusted and I've gotten so comfortable here, or not even comfortable, but I've gotten so used to this.
Yes.
That I didn't even know there were rooms with light and color and just amazement. And you're like, you guys gotta come see this.
And I've seen other people go through that. And I mean, you and I both have seen people where we're like, we could really help this person. And they're like, oh no, they try to coach us. And I'm like, oh, they're in that space.
They're where we were 8-9 years ago.
Yeah. They're just now waking up. Like they're just now getting it.
And so when we get into that space, there's that we intellectually understand we're now in a room with light, but we haven't embodied it and really embraced it like in a beingness of ourselves. So we've called everyone in.
Yes.
Now we're trying to show people around and we haven't explored it ourselves.
Yeah.
And that's where if we can start exploring immediately.
Yes.
And that's where you were talking about the integrating and the implementation. and not being afraid to do it imperfectly.
Which we have done.
I know.
However, I will say there were some things that we've done that it did blow to my ego a little bit, my confidence. However, I've let go of that.
Excuse me.
I've let go of that some, and I'm ready to get back.
Well, I see that
and do some more
really clearly in the physical representation of you trick skiing and water skiing. And I also see how, when you said, okay, I would like to be a trick skier, I would like to be a water skier, and I want to shoot for the Team USA. Mm-hmm. And I was like, to me, I had this fear and uncertainty, but you got out behind the boat and just started doing, and you weren't great.
No,
right?
I still am not great.
You didn't know how to get up. Like, it was a struggle getting up on the trick ski, those types of things. But now you're not quote unquote great, but you're getting there. That's the thing, is you've made so much progress. You're laying out world record trick ski runs. So it's just the small implementation and the trying over and over.
And to not give up. I also feel like in the self-development world, when you do start seeing the light, it is such a steep curve. It is a steep curve.
Yeah. But I also see in the skiing reference again, your mindset about, so you just said, don't give up, like keep trying. Your mindset was to find what you did well, what you might have done differently, what you might improve. So having that mindset, I watched your learning curve shorten so much.
That is true.
And I notice it in myself. Like, anytime we try something new, or like the dancing, anything we do differently, because of our mindset and the way we view life, the gratitude we go in with,
because of our
all
self-development.
all this personal growth that we've gone through, our learning curves for whatever we want to do are so much shorter, which creates a faster track to our goals and dreams, which is just incredible. Like, I see the world forming itself to my desires every single day.
I agree.
And I attribute all of it to personal growth.
I do too.
Our relationship.
Oh gosh. Every aspect of our life has been amplified by personal development and self-growth.
So true. I mean,
I feel so lucky that we went into this space. And to be honest with you, it took bravery and courage and also a little bit of a dark space in order for us to
embrace it,
really
fully
jump into the deep end.
It's that backing up, being backed up against a wall to say something has to change here, and then it's finding the best possible change, the best way forward, instead of going into a destructive mechanism. I mean, and that's just kind of going around the corner of the wall and going back deeper into the darkness. But we're like, hey, our back is here. Like, we're up against it. What's our best move forward?
Invest in yourself. The payoff will come to you in abundance, wealth, relationships.
There's
health.
It's 100% positive payoff. I mean, that's
in all aspects of your life.
There's an old saying that doing good anywhere does good everywhere. If you imagine that your energetic levels, your emotional your emotions, your physicality, all of it, if you grow and you get better, you make the world a better place.
Yes.
And then you make the people around you better.
Yes.
You make your town better. Like, it's just one of those things where a lot of times we think we're growing because we're chasing a goal.
Yes.
But we're just on this wheel chasing. We're not personally growing and personally feeling fulfilled, and like all aspects of our life feeling like, wow, I'm really living lucky here.
Oh, how lucky are we?
Amen. Thank you.
Thanks for joining us.
Keep living lucky. We'll see you on the next side.
Bye-bye. If the idea of living lucky appeals to you, visit us at startlivinglucky.com.